And welcome to the brand new Formula Student Sim Racing Series for 2023-2024. I'm Giles Cosgrove, she's Jess Ball, and we are back once again to go racing around the world in all of its virtual glory. Last year, Glasgow were crowned undeniable champions after a dominant run in halfway through the season. They just took the baton and headed straight out of the door. Can they do the same? We've got so many new teams joining us for this series, and it is going to be absolutely fantastic. Stick with us not only tonight, but throughout the rest of the year as we bring you monthly racing action involving Formula Student teams from around the world with a grand final at Williams eSports. If you recognise our voices, if you recognise us, that might be because you caught us at Silverstone. I'm Giles and she's Jess. We were the commentary team for Formula Student UK 2023. And it's a pleasure to be back with you for the Sim Racing Series. Jess, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been doing great. Thanks to the guys at Formula Student for inviting us back. They probably think that we're good enough to do this commentary. Thank you to everyone that's been joining us for the live stream as well. Over 50 teams signing up as well. And there's many people that are watching Formula Student for the first time and are wondering, what is Formula Student? Well, we'll go through the rules in just a few moments, but Formula Student is a educational engineering competition which uses motorsports to inspire students, and it's backed by high-profile engineers such as Ross Brawn, and the competition aims to develop enterprising and innovative young engineers, and it's run at Silverstone each year, as Giles was just saying, with many teams across Europe and global taking part. It was held virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic in July 2020 and 21, because we weren't allowed events at a big scale back then, and the teams and drivers liked it so much. We have our own sim racing series, which we've been doing since October 2021. This is our third proper sim racing series. One major difference this year is we have a partnership with Williams eSports, and that is huge for Formula Student, and they will be supporting us throughout the competition and also through our engineering challenge. Again, more information about that later on. So thanks to everyone at Williams eSports for all of their support. Make sure you follow them on Twitter and Instagram. So how the series is going to work, we've got 7 rounds of the competition, and each round will last approximately 2.5 to 3 hours in total. There'll be 2 sprint races. There may only be 2 servers. So qualifying a bit different this year than we used to have 2 qualifying on at the same time. Qualifying 1 has just happened, and that's determined the grids for race 1. Then race 1's going to happen. Then after race 1, and whilst we're doing all our talking, that's when qualifying 2 happens for race 2. And from rounds 1 to round 6, we've got the car and track combinations that has already been announced to the drivers for rounds 1 to round 3. Rounds 4 to round 7, well, we're going to keep that a surprise. Each team will have an opportunity to run a joker, where the mass is reduced to the original weight of the car. If they're not running their joker, 5% car mass will be implemented throughout this period. They have an opportunity to run 2 jokers, one for in between the first 3 rounds and then one for the rest of them, and they must declare their intention to run it before Thursday when the practice server has closed. And if they can't make a race, and they have a joker on that race, well, they're not allowed to use that joker again as well. A race win for the top tier is what we're streaming out today. 50 points, plus some points for pole position as well. And the engineering challenge, which we'll go through in a bit more detail later on, 50 points is what you'll get if you win the engineering challenge. And 1 driver entries, that's going to be quite different as well. We'll go through that a little bit later on as well. But we are a global affair this year. And to talk about the teams that are going to be taking part in this season's Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024, we've got Monty with us on the stream. Monty, how are you doing? And we've got a great lineup of universities taking part this year.
Oh, hello, guys. It's good to be back for another season. It's going to be a lot of fun, I hope. And yeah, thank you so much for being back in the series. It's a bumper grid. We're up to 53 different university teams this year. We thought last year was large. We had, 47 teams, I think? Yeah, and it truly is an international one this year, guys. We've got universities from Canada, America, Europe, Britain, Middle East, Asia, Thailand, and even as far as New Zealand. So to all of those who are out there watching the stream tonight, good evening, good morning, and good tomorrow to you. It really is an international one tonight. So I'm just going to flip over to our entry list and let's have a look at what the teams are looking like for this series, guys. So, as I say, 53 teams taking part. 32 have returned from last season, so welcome back, guys. They have made up the first 32 numbers of our grid. The team numbers are based on their championship order from last year. Then for the remaining numbers from teams 33 onwards, we've done it in chronological order. So those with the lower number are the Eager Beavers. Those with the latest numbers, they made it just before the entry deadline on Tuesday, but we're very glad to have them all. So as you can see, we've got the usual protagonists at the top there. Glasgow, the Steamroller, back to defend their championship. University of Southampton as well. They want to get that championship back. They won the title, I should say, 2 seasons ago. Hull, Bolton, Wales Trinity, St David, Salford, Cardiff, Strathclyde, the usual names. They're all back for another stab of it this year. Really looking forward to it and seeing what they can come up with. Moving down the entry list then, so if we move on to our second page, couple more familiar names there. Staffordshire, Heriot Watt, University of Portsmouth. We have a second Portsmouth team this year, so that's great to see. University of Hertfordshire. Giles was very pro Cardiff last year. I'm going to be very pro Hertfordshire because I'm an alumni there, so my fingers crossed for you guys. Then on to the new teams then. So we have the Polytechnic of Paris, York are entering a second team, University College of Dublin, the Munster Technological University, Hong Kong Polytechnic University. We actually have 3 universities from Hong Kong registered this season, guys. Then we've also got the University of Exeter. Great to see them on board as well. Welcome, guys. Woo! University of Canterbury. So that's not in England. This is the New Zealand team. So as I say, good tomorrow to you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. University of Vigo. They are our Spanish counterparts. Welcome to the series, guys. And then on to the final one. So yes, more Hong Kong. We have De Montfort University and University of Bath. Big names in the Formula Student world. Glad to see you in the virtual world. Nottingham Trent. Glasgow, greedy guys. They are with a second team as well there. So that will be great to see. We have the University of Akron. Islamic University of Technology. Portsmouth B, so we have the Portsmouth EV team and the Portsmouth Alternative Fuel team here this season, so that would be great. University of Surrey, or Surtees as they go by. Welcome, guys. Liverpool, yes, we've got the University of Liverpool, and we also have John Moores here, so it's going to be a battle of the Scouts going on there. Queen Mary University London, the University of Hong Kong, and because my Polish is not up to scratch, I'm going to amplify that last one, Warsaw Polytechnic. Welcome to the series. 53 competitors. Oh, this is looking fun, guys.
I'm so excited for this. It's great to be back. And as Jess said, thank you very much to the IMECI for having us back. Not quite sure whether we're back because we're good or because we're cheap, but let's not go into that one.
Yes.
We will be bringing you live coverage throughout the evening, so do please stick with us. Keep your comments coming in. Who are you supporting? Where are you watching from? We'd love to hear from you. And Jess, we're going to go racing at Interlagos, which is a circuit you're very familiar with. So talk us through what the teams can expect from this track.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really nice track, situated 9 miles from the city centre of Sao Paulo. It's hosted many races in real life, of course. Originally, it was 7.960 kilometres long, 4.946 miles, but obviously due to some safety changes and a few crashes back in the day, it is now around about 4.309 kilometres. Fastest lap record in the race was set by Valtteri Bottas, but we're not going to be going into that extreme as well. It is a circuit that requires a mixture of high-speed corners and medium-speed corners as well. I have to say, difficult parts of the circuit, which I find quite tricky. Ferradura, turn 6 and 7. The drivers have been told to keep an eye on track limits around there, so watch out for that. The speed and grit is going to be quite interesting as well. They've got to be avoiding hitting running right through there. Turn 10, Bigo de Pato as well. Very hard braking and late turning, and it's a very sharp apex too. So particularly from turn 6 onwards, that's going to be very tricky. Turns 1 to 3, it's a center S, and then it's a long straight in towards the Interlagos. It's so much fun to drive as well. So much chaos in the past as well with wet weather, which we could see some thunderstorm, believe it or not, today in the server. And they're going to be racing the RSS3 today, which has a peak power of 400 horsepower, which is quite a bit, and it has a weight of 676 kilometers. So, such a unique track.
Kick, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a kick, but yeah, such a great track. The real life Formula One cars raced here last week, and the Formula Student Universities are going to be racing here tonight, and I can't wait.
They are indeed. You know who else can't wait? Everyone who is watching over on the stream. Plenty of love coming in for the various teams competing tonight. A lot of love for UGR. Michael Gormer says, UGR vamos. Elsewhere, Get Yeeted says, let's go SUR. Kaloff says, support SU... Pardon? Meanwhile, we've got footage for you now of the warm-up. I'm getting used to having a full-on fancy setup now. We've got Keeping on Our Ears telling us what's coming up. But we've also got Hertfordshire being supported. Meanwhile, University of Vigo Motorsport have their own YouTube channel supporting them in the comments. Esterano says, people with good taste support Bath. And so does Alexandra. She says, go Bath. Meanwhile, Viva you Vigo Motorsport, says Lois Snow. And Vamos Vitoria, says Mario Bowser. So there's plenty of love coming in for the teams across the world competing in this event. We're on board at the moment with what looks to be UPRE. Jess, can you tell me who UPRE is?
I'll need to get the entry list. You got to get used to the codes, I think, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that's one thing I think me and Giles had problems with last time as well. So 24 is University of Portsmouth, UP Racing Electric.
Brilliant. There we go. We'll get there. It will take a while. It took a while to bed in last. Yeah, it will take a while to bed in.
I think we seem to have lost Giles in the cloud there, Monty, at the moment, but we are just about to finish the warm-up and...
Qualifying.
We can do that in just a second, Giles. Giles, you did just drop off there. I know the internet's not particularly great up in your cloud. Can you hear us again now?
Whoops. I can hear you, yes. I'm going to try something a moment.
No worries,
that
no
was
worries.
The joke.
No, it's the meme that everyone knows that Giles lives in his little commentator's cloud. So, yes, as we all know, with the Storm Kieran last week, it's just kind of ruins everyone's technology for now. So, yeah, we're digging up the qualifying results just now. We're going to see them line up on the grid momentarily anyway, Giles. So we'll be able to run it through the grids there. We're also going to provide you guys with the live timing links in the chat shortly. That will give you live feedback of what's happening in the top tier, the middle tier, and the bottom tier servers. So as a kind reminder, guys, we have 53 teams tonight. That's too much for one server. So we're going to be live streaming the top tier server for you guys to watch. And but we'll keep you up to date with what's happening throughout all the other servers in the background. There's a lot of points up for grabs tonight, that's for sure. So, Jess, we've got our grids just lined up now. I can see Giles is still trying to reconnect at the moment. So as we do that, if I follow behind the first car, shall we go through what the grid's looking like for the first race?
Yeah, certainly, as the timings on the countdown is not updating, so I have to look right up on our screen as well. So we've got, oh my goodness, it's going to be hard to get used to this. So we got the number 35 on pole position. That is the University of College Dublin. So Ireland are making a return to the series. Then we have Vigo in P2 at the moment, starting on the front row. Usually starting on the front row can be quite interesting in terms of getting a good launch into turn 1. Then we got the number 53. That is the Poland team will be starting in the second row. The number 48, and that is the University of Portsmouth. The University of Glasgow will be starting in P5. I know that team because they won the whole damn thing last time out. In row 6, I should know this one as well, University of Bolton.
That's Bolton.
Yeah, they got a lot to live up to this year because they were leading the series for the first few rounds, and then of course they haven't. Obviously, Glasgow were able to have a good few rounds for them to win the title. Then we have got the number 36. That is, give me a second. That is another Ireland team, Munster Technological University. Number 8, the number 38. That is the University of Exeter. Then we got Salford. Please tell me I've got that. Yeah, I've got that right. I don't even have to look at that. That's in P9. Hole A, sorry, in P10. I know this driver, Davis, and I think I interviewed him last time. And the University of Southampton in P11. Then we got the number 24. That is the that is 24B, so it's the University of Hull, Portsmouth Electric. Then we got the 52A on number 13, so that is the University of Hong Kong. 43A, the University of Bath. Then we've got in a row number 15 on what does that say? 18B. Hang on. Edinburgh Napier. You see, it's taking us a while to get used to this, guy. Then we got Cardiff in P16. The number 37, we have got the Hong Kong Polytechnic. We've got Stafford in P18. In P19, we got the number 41, and that is another Hong Kong University. All 3 Hong Kong teams are in Tier 1, so that is great to see. And then we got the whole B team in 20th place. Took us a while, but hopefully we got all the names correct, and we are about to get started for 25 minutes of action.
Absolutely spot on there.
Absolutely fantastic.
It's going to take a while to remember all these numbers, guys, but I have to say, Giles, look at this. The top 4 are brand new teams. Glasgow haven't got it their own way for this race, have they?
They really, really don't. And that is the surprise of the day so far. Your top 4 teams are brand new. We're moments away from going racing here in Brazil, a virtual Brazil. And we have got UCD, University College Dublin, on pole position. In second is Vigo. We saw them at the Real Formula Student at Silverstone earlier on in the year, in the summer. The lights are about to go. We're about to go racing now. Here we go. For the first time this season, it is lights out. And away we go. And that is an absolutely cracking start for the University College Dublin. They're away, followed by Vigo. A bit of a mix-up further down the pack. Vigo get a great start, going out down the inside of University College Dublin. I think they're up into first. Behind them then is the University of College Dublin. A brilliant blinding start from Vigo. Behind them is UPRE, and of course then you've got Bolton. You're on board with UPRAF. They're in third. This is a great battle for third place between the 3 teams as they go very tight through there. And that is Calamity then, going straight down the running order. I can't believe it. University College Dublin, they started in pole and they have gone away. They got a little bit of contact, completely lost it, and they are gone. You're on board with Bolton then. Vigo in the lead. And you can see there, that is an absolutely monumental start off the line. Not much drama, but enough drama to warrant the excitement in my voice. Jess, where are we?
Well, we've had a lot of action going on. And by the way, someone in the chat saying Vigo's pronounced Vigo, not Vigo. So thank you to people in the chat for saying that one correctly, as we got a bit of a lock up in the tyres for some of the drivers out front. But Vigo doing a great job out in P1, but you're passing the final corner. And just bearing in mind as well, one thing we forgot to say for Brazil, no DRS for the entirety of this round. It will give the universities an advantage. So they're going to find different ways to try and get past each other as well. We are seeing NCME dropping down a few positions. Salford's up into 4th place right now. So they're having a great start past the Cellaret and into towards Retroposta and into the Interlagos coming up very, very soon. But he's going to get the slipstream. The number 4 car, MCME, are they going to try and go down the inside? Doesn't look like it so far. Another team that's made their way up the field is Cardiff, up into P13, and it's gone wide through the Interlagos.
That is Nick Kitchen you're on board with now as he chases down FSTN. Classic calamity. Then, and there's a big cloud of white smoke. Someone's locking up there and away.
That's Exeter.
Down the running order go the Hull A team. Exeter also going wide there. These cars are essentially Formula 3 cars, and there's a fair bit of power to be had behind them. They take a lot of control, and UPRE, University Portsmouth Racing Electric, have also come a cropper as well. There is Proton. Is that PROT?
That is the Proton team, yeah.
They are doing relatively well, just keeping things consistent, following the racing line, holding off. They're under pressure from Southampton and Bath behind them. They're doing relatively well to just keep going without feeling the heat breathing down their necks from Southampton and Bath, who are going to be desperate for the position. They go down the start-finish straight. 21 minutes of racing to go now then. And, dearie me, Southampton locking up, going through, taking back the position. The Polish team, as Southampton did make a move, but they just didn't quite make it stick. You're on board with Bath as they try to have a go at Southampton, who are recovering from that mistake. Can they make this work? Going down, they're very, very close indeed. Who's going to break first? Bath backing off as Southampton stay ahead behind them, FSTN. Meanwhile, that is a major shift behind them. Someone's had a bit of a what on earth happened there?
That was a spin, I think, through the Interlagos. I think a few people have been caught there through the entry of the turn 4 as well. People trying to go down the inside, and it's not working. But there's certain teams that are doing very well, and certain teams that are trying to back off a little bit. Bearing in mind, they only got about 20 minutes now. There will be people that want to purposely try and stay behind another car and then try and get the slipstream on the final lap. Or they may want to go guns a-blazing later on as well. And bearing in mind, the rules have changed quite significantly this year in terms of the fuel rate. Someone's gone off. That is MTU that's gone off. But fuel rate is ×4, tyre wear ×4. So we're more than likely going to be seeing pit stops in Formula Student this season, because I don't think the tyres will last that long. We got some battles out having up front. That is Hull B going for moves as well. Salford. Someone's had a bit of an off there. That was Southampton that's dropped down the field. That's not good for them. But Vigo still holding on to the lead by around 1.5 seconds. They're doing a great job, and we are starting to see Above trying to go on the outside line in towards turn 4. Can they make it stick the time?
Again,
no.
And they just can't quite make it work. The same position and lap later, and they are still stuck behind Southampton. This is the debut for the Bath Formula Student Sim Racing team. They're in their blue and yellow of the Team Bath Electric colours, so they are doing really well for their first race ever in this series, and are determined to get past Southampton, who have been protagonists in this series for a number of years. So the question does remain, how long can Southampton hold on with this monumental pressure being piled on them by Bath? Will they be saved by the pit stops? Because bear in mind, there have been a lot of lockups going on here. So these tyres, which are already being degraded massively, are going to go away furthermore, simply because these drivers are just at the ragged edge of the limit. And you can see that from all the tyre smoke we're seeing. Going round the outside then are Bath as they look for a way around Southampton. You're on board with them, looking to the left, looking to the right, going down the pitch straight, inches away, sweeping round the right-hand side, trying to out-drag them. Can they make it work? No, they can't. Southampton still have the racing line, looking up through that hairpin.
And I think Bath is not going to give up here. They're going to try and go maybe on the inside once again, past the straight in towards turn 4 now. And looks like Bath just going to back off a little bit once again, but they're going to get a beautiful run heading in towards turn number 5. They go up the hill, still side by side to head towards Ferradura. That's a great racing between the both of them. Now heading towards turn 7. That's the little orange curve. Don't ask me to pronounce the Portuguese name because I can't pronounce it to save my life. Now heading towards turns 8 and 9, then in toward Bico to Bato, which is another very tricky corner. Blind Apex coming up as well. Just a quick note of the second server going on right now. The York A team is currently leading with that one, and I believe that's Manchester in P2. So that's an update on what's going on in server 2 right now. There is 2 servers tonight, and that's what's going on in there. So York A is leading, Manchester in second, and USM in P3 currently. And another lockup from the driver in P2. That's going to help by Vigo quite a lot. And then he said Vigo there.
Vigo doing remarkably well. They got past Dublin on the first corner and then just went away. They are now just under a second. In fact, they've just clocked over a second ahead of the second place team. Bolton up into third, Salford following suit as University of Glasgow 18 go down into 5th. Glasgow not then having things their way as they did last season. It's clearly all to play for. On board now with Nick Kitchen from Cardiff University. Cardiff Racing you're on board with now in 10th position. You can see a lot of the upper field are very much bunched together. It is only Vigo and the second place team that have really gone away and going wide there. Who is that? That's Hull B team who are inviting everyone to just come past them and claw their way up the grid. A lot of teams saying, yes, please, thank you very much, I will have a free place. Hull B team will be gutted with that. They've got FSTN, Proton, Southampton, Bath, Salford, all of them ahead now. Cardiff down in 11th, somehow dropping a place during all of that calamity there.
Oh, Vigo's pitted. Vigo, sorry.
Vigo has then pitted. Vigo, we're going to have to get that right at some point within this series. We'll get there quickly. By the looks of things, Vigo going to be a championship protagonist if they keep up this form. They're in the pits, down into 4th now, waiting for that tyre change. They've got to sit there and wait for the server to put new tyres on. They're away now. They are down into 5th, up into 4th, as Proton just go past. Vigo then were in the lead. They are going to be on fresh rubber now, though. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue for them to get back past, because there it is. Who's in the pit? It's only University of Glasgow. They're banking then that they're going to manage to get fresh rubber on and get away from the teams that have been holding them up. They weren't. Oh!
That was a huge flip. And that was Bath and Southampton.
Oh no! So things haven't gone according to plan for Glasgow, who took an early pit stop in the hopes of getting fresh rubber. A coming together from Bath and Southampton inevitably in the pit lane has caused a pile-up, and now 2 teams that we reckoned were going to be looking fairly strong are now right at the back. In fact, 3 teams that we were potentially going to see on the podium are now right at the back. Bear in mind, most of the grid still hasn't pitted yet, so they could still be coming back forward, but I don't know. That is just remarkable to see. I don't think I've ever seen a pile-up in a pit lane before.
I've never seen it like that. Luckily, in most games, it's completely ghosted, but not on this game. These universities are using a Assetto Corsa, so that's what they're going to be using throughout the entirety of the season. So, and we've got a battle for the lead coming up as well, because obviously Vigo is just pitted. The question is the undercut going to work, or is the overcut going to work as we head past in towards
You're on board with Vigo.
3?
They go through. I think they've got it. No, they don't. UPARF have held on to the lead as the overcut improves their standings by a half a second. They have trounced Vigo in the pits. Could be fine. If they had timed that a few seconds or so earlier or later, they would have been caught up in that pile-up. UPARF have done remarkably well and timed that pit stop to perfection. Meanwhile, Bolton and Salford, this is a bit of a throwback, trying to battle it out for third. Bolton holding off the black and red of Salford behind them. a gap of half a second, 0.3 of a second between them. Salford coming up, having a look round the outside. Not quite enough power there to make it.
I think we've had some crashes going on in the background as my live timings is going absolutely nuts currently with, I think it was Barb that was involved once again. But hopefully they can make their way back very, very soon. But I have to say, Vigo doing a great job as well. Upariari in 9th place. And with the tyre situation as well, remember last season where we had the situation where they had to tell the organiser on what tyre they want to go on? They have the more flexibility. They could choose whatever tyre they want to start the race on, and they don't have any limits as to what tyres they go on to, which is great. We get some great racing, and we get a mixture of strategies. Now, the University in P10 is on hard, same with P9 as well. They go to the inside, almost doing a double overtake through the centre S as well. Get a bit squarey on exit. They head towards turn 3, and they cut a little bit of the track there.
University College Dublin are in a league of their own. They may be down in 9th currently, but they have come from the back of the grid. Bear in mind that they got tapped off during that first lap drama, and they've been making up places like a bat out of hell. Look at this. You're on board with UPRE watching the battle between University College Dublin and Cardiff University for 8th place. Nick Kitchen under pressure from the UCD driver, who just goes through, goes away with it, and is up into 8th is UCD. Clearly, having started in pole, this driver has mastered this course and this car and got unlucky with that contact that sent them off early on in the race, and they are now determined to make up those positions. The question is, when are they going to pit? Have they pitted yet? I haven't seen it myself. If you've seen it, just let me know. If you've seen it in the chat, let us know. But have UCD pitted? Because if they have, they are on an absolutely barnstormer back towards the front of the grid. They've got 11.5 minutes left. This could be really exciting. If they haven't pitted yet, then this might all be for nothing and might just be exhausting their tyres prematurely.
I believe most people have pitted.
So, Monty, you're in the pit lane, virtually. Can you tell us whether UCD have pitted or not?
I can confirm that everyone has pitted at least once, so that takes away a little bit of the excitement. However, key difference, you would have noted that some guys pitted a lap after. That could be the crucial difference between who's pitting twice tonight and who's pitting once, because those who managed to hold on an extra lap, that got them to the halfway point. So we could be seeing those on a 2-pit stopper charging from behind at the end of the race. And those who eked on an extra lap, they're going to have track position, but they're probably going to have to do a lot of fuel saving at the end to keep that track position advantage. The other thing as well to consider, guys, you may be hearing there's thunder in the background. The weather is closing in. It's technically light thunderstorms. There is a risk of rain tonight.
Ooh, absolutely fantastically on board then with UCD as they eye up Exeter, who are in their sights. I'm loving the livery on the Exeter car. It is very much giving Aston Martin to me. How long can Exeter last? Because they're far too busy concentrating on the Polish team ahead of them to look in their rearview mirrors. Because here come UCD and the gap is very, very close. Look in them, look in your mirrors, because there is a car that is determined to get back into first place. But all of this, meanwhile, as Exeter close in on the Polish team, they're going to be far more interested in making up a place and may neglect to defend the position they're already in. Going down the start-finish straight of Interlagos, Formula 3 cars live from a virtual Brazil, locking up on the Polish team. Can Exeter make the most of that? Not yet. They haven't got quite close enough. But who are getting closer is UCD. The gap is half a second between the 6th, 7th and 8th placed cars. This is very exciting.
This is, and if they're pushing the tyres too much, it could mean that they could go into the pits again. So some drivers will be conservatively saving those tyres for a little bit longer, but there'll be some people, like we're seeing with Exeter and University College Dublin, will be pushing a little bit, but may have to pit again. So the higher you up in the standings, you'll be able to do tyre save a little bit more. And that's what the University, I believe it's number 48, are doing currently, the University of Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel. Portsmouth have two teams. They have University of Portsmouth Electric and the University of Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel, which is great to see. We have loads of universities that have multiple teams. We've got a battle for the lead once again, as Vigo almost got the University of Portsmouth there, but couldn't quite do it. But we got Bolton versus Salford. A bit of a lock-up from Salford in the background for the final podium positions. This is going to be insane stuff. We got Exeter and University of College doubling. Exeter to the inside through into turn 1. Can they hold their line and take away?
No, I think UCD have got that.
There.
Yes. Exeter locking up. It's exactly as I said. They were so determined to get past the Polish team that they neglected to look in their rearview mirrors. UCD rubbing their hands together, thinking, thank you very much. And they are through as Salford and Bolton go wheel to wheel for third. And Bolton are up into it. Salford going back through with the racing line on the inside. This is classic Formula Student Sim racing. And just a little bit squirrely through there were Bolton as Salford goes safely through, and Bolton are going to have to find another opportunity to take that place back, getting very close, mere inches from their front wing and the rear of Salford. Just a little bit to the right, trying to find a way round, not brave enough to go round the outside, but they are piling on the pressure. Oh, and that is, surely that's contact. A little bit squirrely as Salford just try and hold on, the rear wing touching the back wheels of Salford's car as Bolton go round the outside, trying to find a way round. Salford driving an excellent defense as they go through. The apex clipped perfectly by Salford. Bolton haven't got the racing line. The question is, where is the opportunity going to come as Bolton can't make this work? Fantastic from Salford, and then they throw them the dummy. They throw them the dummy, and that is amazing. They're side by side, 2 abreast here at Interlagos. And I'm not sure who's going to come out on top. I think Bolton might just have this. This is brilliant racing. This is why we love doing what we do. Salford. Oh, I can't watch. This is unbelievable.
Vigo has pitted. I repeat, Vigo has pitted, so they've done their second stop. So I wonder if that will trigger more pit stops, in particular from Salford and Bolton, Giles.
So Portsmouth Alternative are away 14 seconds ahead, I think. Meanwhile, you're on board with Bolton as Bolton and Salford are now battling for second place as Vigo head into the pits for what must be the second time at least. So when will Bolton and Vigo pit themselves, Bolton and Salford, I should say, pit themselves, Vigo back into fourth, having rejoined from the pit lane, because
we've
this
got
cannot
College
last.
Dublin and Proton are having a battle with Exeter.
Absolutely, we don't know where to look. Proton looking very slow suddenly.
Yeah, they went off, so they must have had a little bit of contact. And we got MTU having a little bit of a fight as well, but we've got University of Portsmouth, who is pitted. So they're going to cover off Vigo, so we're going to watch Vigo as they come towards the start-finish straight there. And don't forget, no DRS for this run. And so they got 20 seconds to clear him. It's going to be very tight.
Very tight. Locking up. That is not what Vigo are going to have wanted. Locking up through there. Can they beat UPIRF back out onto the track? Portsmouth Alternative are ahead. Vigo are in fourth after a stern drive. They've not quite made the pit strategy work as well as Portsmouth Alternative have, and they are in third. Bear in mind, Salford and Bolton have yet to come in for their second stop, which, given their pace, they're going to have to. So at the moment, although you can see on your timing screen, Salford and Bolton are leading, really it's only a matter of time before Portsmouth Alternative take the lead. Southampton are in the pits themselves.
Yep.
As they head back out onto track, hopefully a far cleaner entry onto the circuit than we saw earlier from Southampton with a big crash with Bath that also, I believe, took out, was it Glasgow? Yes, it was Glasgow.
It was Glasgow, that's why they're near the back still.
So, not the race that some of these teams will have wanted, but plenty of action for you at home watching. Keep your comments, please, coming in. We love hearing from you.
Salford's in, and so's Bolton.
Munster. They've come in then, so there we have it. It's only a matter of time before Portsmouth Alternative and Vigo are in first and second, and there it is. You can see it just occurring now on your timing sheets. Portsmouth Alternative ahead of those teams, and Vigo go through as well. Who is going to take the final podium position? We've got 4 minutes of racing left. Bolton and Salford. This has been a battle for the ages. Wheel-to-wheel racing at its very best. Salford ahead of Bolton following that pit stop. They enter back out onto the track. Are they going to get ahead of UCD? There's a gap of 2 seconds. This could be very close indeed. as Hull A go ahead of Bolton. Salford are in third. Hull A, no, just behind them. I do apologise. Salford in third, Bolton in fourth, Hull A in fifth. In sixth, it's Exeter and UCD are in seventh place, having started in pole. It's all happening, and I'm very out of breath.
I think we're almost out of breath. I think we're almost out of breath currently at the moment. I think most people have done their second pit stops. We've got the 41A that's pitted as well. So yeah, everyone has done their second pit stop. So it's pretty much a sprint to the finish then until the end of this one. They still got 3 minutes left to go. University of Portsmouth still leading. Vigo in second, but who will get that final podium between Salford and Bolton? We also got a battle
did make up
between.
A second in that pit stop. As that monster getting a little bit tail happy through there. Salford no longer under pressure there. Look at that. Look at the gap that's opened up following that pit stop. They really made that work to their advantage, did Salford, who are now a second ahead of their rivals for that last podium position. We've seen some great wheel-to-wheel racing from them, but it's going to take a magic trick from Bolton. They're going to have to really pull something out of the hat to get back on top of Salford with 2.5 minutes or so left to go.
And look at Southampton struggling down there in 16th, but bearing in mind there's certain teams that had one driver entries and started from the back of the grid. Oh, that's College Dublin!
Oh, no. Dublin, who looked so strong today, just having real bad luck as Cardiff go through into 10th. And this is not the race the Irish will have wanted. There may be the luck of the Irish, but wherever it is, it's departed this race because UCD having a race to forget so far. They started in pole and it's all gone Pete Tong. University of Glasgow Racing A team also having not a day that they would like to remember, having Karma Cropper in the pit lane. They didn't even qualify on the front row, qualified I think in 5th, and then bumped into Bolton and Salford, who were having a bit of a scrap in the pit lane, and they've just not managed to recover from that. With just over a minute of racing to go, it looks then like Portsmouth Alternative are going to take this with Vigo in second and Salford in third. Can Bolton do anything? The gap is about 2 seconds between Salford and Bolton. You're on board with the University of Glasgow 18. UCD have overtaken Cardiff University. Nick Kitchen then has lost the top 10 position, the final top 10 position from the Irish. Wales versus Ireland then, as we head into what is likely to be the last lap of the race. Can Nick Kitchen pull this out the bag and get ahead of who were the pole sitters at qualifying? It is only a matter of time as Cardiff try to claw in on UCD. Not quite close enough to make a move. About 3/4 of a second between them. I don't know whether there's going to be an opportunity here for Cardiff to get through as Staffordshire go
dropping down the order.
Down, as that's not going well for Staffordshire.
Nope. I think they must have got damage somehow, and it's 50% damage on this server, so if they get damaged, they get it hard currently. I've got some information, by the way, of which teams are using their jokers. We've got 2, and they're both in this server. But whilst we wait for that, Southampton trying to go on their merry way, as we've got one car that's
Hong Kong University have gone well wide.
Yeah, the University of Hong Kong have gone well wide. We've got 2 teams on this server on the joker, one of which is in P2, Vigo, and also University of College Dublin on their joker.
University College Dublin have... that is going to be really, really hard to stomach for University College Dublin. They've done everything right, and yet somehow they can't even get past the 9th placed Hull B team, who are busy battling out with the Polish team. I can't keep calling them that. Someone tell me what PROT means.
Proton.
Proton have got up into 9th as Hull B team go into 8th. You're on board then with your race leaders. They have done a remarkable job strategizing throughout this race, keenly timing their pit stops. They may not have been the fastest off the line, but their strategy has paid dividends. Portsmouth Alternative Fuel are in the lead as they head towards the last part of the race, heading towards the checkered flag. Nothing can stop them now as they cross the line and take the first win of the season in Formula Student Sim Racing 2023. University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel are the winners, with Vigo in second as they cross the line. And Salford will be coming up to take third, a well-earned third for Salford. That final podium position following a triumphant battle with Bolton, who crossed the line in fourth, followed by Hull A-Team. What a race to kick off the season with.
Yes, and 450 points will belong to the University of Portsmouth Alternative Fuel, and it's James D'Zuba, I think that's how you say it, that was in the car, and we'll be interviewing him very shortly. But what a drive on the line, and we got Proton that got Hull B on the line, and they get some extra points from it. I can't remember how much points people get. I think it's most positions, but obviously the higher you finish, the more points you get, and that could be huge. And it looks like we got a DNF for the University of, Munster Technological University. They did not make the line, unfortunately. We are still waiting for Glasgow Polytechnic, and we also got the 41 who's crossing the line as well. So those people still to cross the line, but Munster, DNF for them, unfortunately.
Absolutely stunning there. One thing that I noticed, I can't help noticing, Nick Kitchen managing to get past University College Dublin in the final throws of the last lap, somewhat unexpectedly, and getting up into ninth. Was that an overtake, or was that a mistake from University College Dublin? I'm sure someone from Cardiff can tell me, but there we have it then. University Portsmouth Racing Alternative Fuel have taken victory in the first race of the season. What a race it was, Jess.
Brazil always likes to deliver when it comes to overtake. We saw side-by-side action heading towards Ferradura, of all places. It was absolutely amazing as well. People trying to find moves left, right and centre in turn 10. The pit lane drama that we had, bit of chaos. Let's hope we don't get that for race 2. And we also had the question of whether it was going to be a 1-stop or a 2-stop. It was a 2-stop. So hopefully the drivers that are standing by in for race 2 have got their thinking caps on. What will they do going into the race 2 later on? But we still got a while to wait. We still got qualifying 2 to happen with their second driver, which can't be the same as their driver A. But we are about to hopefully get someone in for interview very, very soon. But which teams have stood out to you, Giles?
Oh, for me, it would definitely have to be Bolton and Southampton going wheel to wheel with an absolutely stunning battle. Although I must say, I would be interested to be in the stewards briefing after the race to find out what gets said about that pit lane calamity, because suffice to say, I can't imagine Glasgow are going to be particularly pleased about that one, let alone the two that were directly involved. Some great comments coming in as well. Apparently Beyonce's here. According to Amy Dunn, Beyonce's here. I don't know whether that's the huge pop star or whether someone here has the same name, but Beyonce is among us, which is fantastic. But for me, I really did love the battle between Salford and Bolton. Was it Southampton? It was Southampton and Bolton. I don't know.
No, Salford and Bolton.
Salford and Bolton did an absolutely fantastic job of keeping it clean, wheel to wheel. Some proper great racing. And I really did appreciate the effort that UCD went to. Especially on their Joker, they will have wanted to make up for the damage that was done to their points by that contact in the first lap. Would love to watch a replay of that and find out what happened. But my top 3 picks are Bolton, Salford, and University College Dublin. What about you, Jess?
Well, I have to agree with both Bolton and Salford. Their battle was amazing, continuing from where they left off last season. And I have to say, our race winner, the University of Portsmouth Alternative, drove absolutely amazing. Again, you don't have to be the fastest on track. Got the strategy right, and you could tell it was planned. And that is the whole point of this Formula Student competition. It's not necessarily about the driving. It's also about the engineering side as well. When will be the best time to come in? What setup would you use in the car? And it sounds like they had the right setup. You won't necessarily be looking for the next Lewis Hamiltons or Max Verstappen's, but we could see an engineer in our midst. We have seen many Formula Students teams and drivers this year. We have some students who have been hired by Formula One teams. And if you go to a Formula One team and get interviewed, and if they ask you, have you done Formula Student before? And you say no, well, the interview will be terminated there. So this is kind of really huge experience coming up
well,
as well.
There we are then. If you want to work in Formula One, as Jess has said, you better get into Formula Student. Meanwhile, talking of Formula One, we are very pleased to be supported here at the Formula Student Sim Racing Series by Williams and their eSports team. So earlier on in the year, we had our grand final for the previous season at their facility, and Monty went to have a look, and I think we can have a catch-up with Monty over at Williams eSports so you can see everything that the drivers will have access to come the grand final this year.
Hey guys, welcome to the Williams Experience Centre, where we're going to be hosting the final rounds of this season's Formula Student Sim Racing Series in their eSports Centre. I'm joined with Michael Preston, the eSports Chief Engineer for Williams eSports, who's going to be showing us around the facilities. Shall we go?
Yep,
let's go.
So welcome to Grove, home of the Williams eSports Lounge. So here we have some of the simulators that the students are going to get to use for the final round of the Formula Student Sim Racing Series. We have the Williams eSports Edition Playseat Formula. We have a Fanatec Direct Drive steering wheel base and a Formula V 2.5 rim. We also have load cell pedals and a 32-inch curved monitor. As you can see, there's 10 rigs here. We also have 10 rigs in the back room as well, so we can have up to 20 people racing in the same race at any given time. In the background, we also have our pro-level sim rigs. So these are the sim rigs that our Williams eSports Pro drivers would use if they're preparing for events or if they're taking part in events. So this year we've used those for taking part in the Le Mans 24-hour Le Mans Virtual Series. We've used iterations of those rigs for F1 eSports as well. And we also have a F1 style pit wall, which we use to provide a professional engineering capacity, which I will show you now. So here we have our F1 style pit wall. The first thing you'll notice is the abundance of screens that we have. It seems excessive, but as soon as you start adding onboard telemetry, timing, the screens quickly fill up, especially if you want to be watching the race as well. Like we have a replay from the Le Mans Virtual Series race here. This has capacity for 4 engineers to be working during the races. We also use this for running events in the eSports Lounge as well. So if we're running LAN events or corporate events, then this is somewhere that we can run those events from if we're running session lobbies or doing admin for that kind of stuff as well. On the screen we have Motec open at the moment, so that's a tool that we use to analyse telemetry. So this is something that most of the students in the Formula Student Sim Racing Series will have become accustomed to using throughout this year, because Motec natively has the ability to analyse data coming out of Assetto Corsa, the simulator. So that's where there's one real area of crossover between sim racing and real life, is that this is a tool that's used in professional level motorsport, and the students can be using it, getting data from their sim rig at home and learning everything that they'd ever need to do using this software at a racetrack. So here's one of our pro level rigs that our Williams eSports Pro drivers would use. As you can tell, there's a bit of a step up in hardware between these and the corporate level simulators that we have over in the rest of the eSports Lounge. And the main differences from this are coming from much heavier braking pedals, the higher forces coming from the direct drive wheelbase, 3 screens, so that you can use your peripheral vision a lot more to see the cars around you. Also, the much stiffer chassis for the rig itself. That's necessary to cope with all the forces coming out of the steering wheel base and going through the braking pedal. So the Husingveld Ultimate pedals that we have on this rig are capable of going up to 120 kilos of braking force. So that's capable of matching any or the majority of real racing cars. So
a lot of force.
Yeah, these are a really good tool for professional drivers as well, testing for real-world racing, as well as our drivers in their professional sim racing capacity.
This looks impressive. Dare I ask the cost?
Yeah, so the rig in its totality with the one PC included will put you back about just over 10,000 Great British pounds.
Worth every penny, I'm sure.
Yep, especially when you're looking for those marginal gains.
Absolutely. No, definitely. If it gives you an authentic experience of what do you feel in the car on the real track, then no, definitely it's
it's there with a purpose.
So that was Monty interviewing Michael Preston from Williams eSports, and it just goes to show, well, if you can make it in Formula Student, you can make it in the real life world as well. But we finally got our race winner from race 1 in the top tier. It's from the University of Portsmouth. James, massive congratulations on your victory there. You made it look easy. Tell us, how does it feel?
Thank you. Yeah, a very good race. I was worried about the pace towards the start because I was starting to drop back a bit, but pit stop seemed to be where I gained my time, and yeah, just had to keep it on the road till the end.
Yes, told me about the strategy, because I think that was your key element of you winning today as well, because you saw most of your drivers around you struggling with the tyres as well. Was it your original plan going for the 2-stop? Did your practicing kind of help you there?
Yeah, I always knew it was going to be a 2-stop. There would have been a lot of fuel saving if we were going for the 1-stop, and I'm not sure the tyres would have lasted that long.
Yeah, and you possibly see, I think, a lot of things happening around you as well. Usually, sometimes when I'm at the front, I usually get nervous heading into the final few laps. Was it the same for you because of the gap that was quite a big one?
No, not too much. Just keep it on the road, just hit your marks, and yeah, just bring it home. That's all I needed to do.
Yeah, and of course you're at the University of Portsmouth Alternative Racing. It's a great team. Tell us how important is it for your team to take part in Formula Student?
It's great to take part in this. I mean, it's my first year on the team, but the team's been about for a couple of years now. But yeah, it's good to be doing this. Good to be representing the team, and hopefully more good results like this.
Yeah, race 2 is coming up. Do you know who's driving for University of Portsmouth coming up?
Yeah, we've got Nick that's going to be getting in the car for this second round, so he's should be good on pace. Hopefully we'll be in split 1 again and see what result we can get.
Yes, you never know what could happen whether you're being split 1 or not. There was a threat of thunderstorm. There could have been a threat of rain going into race 2. Is that going to change your strategy a little bit when you're helping out Nick later on today?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Take it as it comes, but I think we'll just stick to our strategy for now and see where we end up.
And obviously you had Vigo chasing you down as well. They were on the Joker as well. Were you kind of relieved after that race win that you potentially may have not used your Joker around Brazil, or would you wish you would have used your Joker around Brazil?
No, I was quite happy with my decision just to stick without doing the Joker. I was worried that they might run away, but I was happy with my pace that I was able just to stick with them. So I would have been happy coming home just behind the guys that took their Joker, because I knew they had the advantage this race.
And going into race 2, who would you say, which teams do you think will be your biggest rivals going into it?
I know one of the drivers on Glasgow because I used to do sim racing with him, so I think they're probably one of our challenges this season. So we'll have to see how they do.
Yes, I'll be very, very excited. Again, massive congratulations. But before you go and head off and help Nick from race 2, because we didn't have time to get it sorted beforehand, can you tell us what your socials are if people want to check you out and the team out?
So I'm on Instagram, James_Juba, spelled DZRUBA for the surname. I'm under the same Twitch handle for Twitch when I do my live streams of my races as well. So yeah, feel free to follow me on there.
So yeah, check him out on Instagram and Twitch, and yeah, you can kind of relax, but not relax because your team's still got another race. So massive congratulations, our first race winner of Formula Student 2023 to 2024.
Thank you for having me.
And we will go back to this main screen and speak to Giles. James drove a phenomenal race, didn't he?
It was absolutely fantastic. And I think key to that, as you were saying during the interview, and I think we have seen right out of the gate the impact that the pit stops are going to have this season on the racing dynamics. Last season, we didn't see a lot of it. There was one moment when Glasgow ran out of fuel on the last lap from the lead and lost the race win as a result. But that was few and far between. This year, we're going to see a huge change in the results simply down to those pit stops. And talking of those results, shall we have a look at the Monty?
Well, the key takeaways we're seeing is there's some very fast new people in the series this season, guys. I mean, we look at that. Portsmouth Alternative Fuel and Vigo, two brand new teams taking first and second there. Salford, NCME, or Bolton rather, third and fourth, the usual protagonists there. Dublin, we're going to keep an eye on. That felt a bit reminiscent of Glasgow last season, you know, when they had evidently lots of pace in round one, but they kept on spinning off. So that felt a bit reminiscent of that, looking at that race, to be honest. But so we'll be keeping an eye on them. However, looking at the mid-server, so we had York A who won that one. Strathclyde came second with Manchester third, Hertfordshire fourth, and UWTSD in fifth. Birmingham in sixth, Cambridge seventh, Sheffield Hallam eighth, Victoria in ninth, and the second of the York teams in 10th. That was for the mid-server standings. So just to kindly remind everyone, so we will be going into the second qualifying now, so we could see a completely different grid now in the top tier server for the second race. So they're going to do it all over again. All the cars are out there qualifying as we speak. All 53 of them, to see who's the fastest 20. Those are the ones we're going to be live streaming in the second race in about 15 minutes time. So in the meantime, guys, we've got a little bit of time to kill. We've got a few more topics to talk about. The drivers are looking just as impressive, but it's not just about the driving really this season, is it, guys? What else have we got coming on with the season?
We've got our engineering challenges, which is all part and parcel of what makes this series so interesting, in that we're not just going racing virtually. We are challenging the teams to test their engineering capabilities, which, as Jess has been saying throughout the evening, is part and parcel of why we do Formula Student and why we love it. We're not necessarily looking for Hamilton or Verstappen, but we are definitely looking for the next Adrian Newey, whoever he, she, or they might be. And the engineering challenge is a great way of enticing the teams to actually be able to put the stuff they've learned in the lecture rooms into practice, because you get a points haul that is equivalent to a win for every win within an engineering challenge, with 6 engineering challenges spaced throughout the year. So it's all to play for. You could see teams who may not necessarily be positioning themselves massively well within the runnings of the races, but they could be going so well in the engineering challenges, they could still be vying for the championship win. So, with all of that in mind, let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get to understand these engineering challenges with Monty.
For the 2023 Sim Race series, as well as the monthly races, we've added an engineering challenge that runs between the rounds. So as well as the drivers who are competing in the monthly races, it gives an opportunity for more of the team members to get involved within the Sim Race series, and it also allows us to dive much deeper into the engineering and the fundamental vehicle dynamics that the students, we want them to understand, both for helping them perform better in the races during the series itself, but it's developing skills that they'll be able to go on and use in industry, whether that's in mainstream automotive or in racing itself on the race engineering side. James, do you want to explain a bit more about the different content we've had in the challenge this year?
Sure, absolutely. So each challenge has been set on a different theme. Essentially, we're going into this as if the students are having to deal with a client, a racing driver, or a race team, and the client is coming up to them saying the car is doing X, Y, Z. So for example, one of the challenges will be that the tyres aren't behaving as we would expect it to be. So one of the challenges would be based on tyre pressures, camber, and toe-in adjustments. One of the other challenges will be talking about gearing, downforce levels. So we're focusing on specific points on a car's behaviour and getting the students to look through the data to try and understand the actual vehicle dynamic characteristics of that car and understand how they can make the car go quicker. It's not necessarily about having the fastest lap time at the end, but it's about being able to provide the information and the data to the judges to show sound reasoning as to why you believe this is the correct solution to adjusting that handling ailment of the car. We've come to the final challenge now, which is we're opening up all the parameters. It's going to be at Spa-Francorchamps. We're focusing on that classic cliche which every engineer faces at Spa-Francorchamps. Do you create a car setup prioritising top speed, or do you focus on sector 2 and maximise the downforce and go slow on the straights? Looking forward to see what the students can come out with.
I'm James Tatham. I'm a former University of Portsmouth student. I competed in Formula Student for 7 years. I've been a design judge for the last 2 years at Formula Student UK, and I've been sim racing for 11 years. I'm a design engineer with previous experience in aerospace. Now I work for Kenwood designing kitchen machines. So,
James, we've been running the engineering challenges this year. You've essentially been leading the judging criteria on this, and for a better word, putting together the challenges in the sense of defining what it is we want the students to learn from this. So would you mind giving us a description of what it is we're looking for and kind of how the challenges were built?
So we created the engineering challenge to encourage the students to apply their engineering principles and practices into their sim racing. So the students are given a realistic brief, putting them in the position of a race engineer who has to engineer the car, varying the setup parameters in order to improve the lap time. So we've asked them to use the Motec software, which essentially is a data logging program within sim racing, so then they can analyze the car performance using actual engineering parameters and then applying that back into improving their lap time. So the judging is split into 4 categories: engineering approach, rationale, justification, and the lap time, which they set their time using the setup that they created. So the teams are asked to submit an A4 page, and that can effectively communicate the work that they've done to understand the car's characteristics and how they've improved the lap time by adjusting settings on the car, whether this is suspension, aerodynamics, tyres, or gears. This helps the student to improve their engineering communication skills, where being able to communicate complex data in a quick and efficient manner is a vital skill. It also helps develop their analysis skills, encouraging them to become more rounded engineers. And the engineering challenge scores go towards the Sim Racing Series championship points, so it helps the teams climb up the championship rankings.
What are we looking for? What are judges looking for in these challenges? How do the students submit the challenges for a start, and what is it we're looking for in these submissions?
So the students submit an A4 sheet of paper with a template that we set out that will then be split into the individual categories of engineering approach, rationale, and justification. And we really want to see that they take an iterative approach, looking at the data and using data-led decision-making to improve the lap time. The students may have to compromise on their setups, where, for example, if they're looking at aerodynamics, they can adjust their front and rear wings. Obviously, if you increase your wing angle, then it will impact your top speed. And if you decrease your wing angle, you'll have a higher top speed. So maybe in some corners you want more angle, and other corners you don't want as much. So we want to see them analysing the car throughout the whole track and actually determining what's the best setup, what's the best compromise throughout that lap to get the best performance out of the car.
Right, but they've only got a single page to put all this information down in, so is there a magic way of being able to get this information relayed?
There's no magic way to present it. It's just like an elevator pitch. In engineering meetings, you don't have much time to actually convey your message across from all your engineering analysis. So this is a great example where students can learn these skills already, where they have to do an elevator pitch essentially to us, communicate that information. So we want to see lots of graphs, because a graph is a really good way of presenting a lot of data. And it's up to the students to be as creative as they can to think of how they can communicate that information as effectively as possible to us.
What good And what bad examples have you seen so far this year? Without naming and shaming, but what has really stood out to you as being a good example of someone submitting their work? What didn't appeal to you best? Why were they given a weaker score?
We'll start on the positives. So the teams that have submitted the best entries have just been very clever at the way that they're communicating their information. They've been really clear and concise, and you can look at it and literally within 10 seconds you can pick up exactly what they're trying to communicate to you. And I think that's the most important thing. The analysis that they're doing, some of the teams are going into a lot of detail, which is very impressive. But obviously if you can't communicate that information, then it doesn't actually come across very well. So the best teams have been the ones that have communicated the best information across to us, and we can clearly identify what they're trying to show us. And they're looking at every single parameter, and they're really understanding the principles that they're applying. And it's not just guesswork, it is actually, you know, applied theory into an engineering practice. So I think on the flip side of that, what you'll see is some of the teams that aren't as good maybe haven't done their homework and researched actually what the core principles are, what are the fundamentals that cause a car to understeer or oversteer. They really need to understand that, so then when they look at the data, they're looking at the right bit of data, and then when they're communicating that back to us, they're communicating it in a really efficient way. They've got a nice graph. You know, some of the worst teams, maybe they don't even have a graph to show us, and so we can't take anything from that. It's just a load of words, and that, you know, we can't just assume that their words are correct.
It's a very valid point you make there, and I think some of the feedback we've had from some of the judges this year is some of the submissions have been very word focused, and 1,000 words will speak 1,000 words. However, a graph, a chart can sometimes do those 1,000 words for you without iterating a single word. Exactly,
yeah. Actually being able to quickly glance at a graph, you can take so much more information from it than a big body of text. Especially as I'm dyslexic, it's not so easy to read. I think if it's just really to reiterate to the students how important this challenge actually is, it might look like a bit of extra work on the side, but really it's learning a lot of key skills that you need in industry. And those skills, once you're in the workplace, they'll take you further quicker, because you can already do something that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to communicate that data that you've collected and to churn that then into a result and communicate that effectively to your wider team. It's very important, and that will help you going through design reviews, going, you know, through all your stages in your engineering technical career.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, James.
That's all right. Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to Formula Student 2023 Sim Racing Series. We just had an interview for about the Engineering Challenge, and it just goes to show how the Engineering Challenge can change absolutely everything in terms of the championship, and it will give you real experience of what you can face in real life. But whilst we wait for the warm-up to start as well, we got some combinations to announce. Obviously, we got the RSS3 in Interlagos. That'll be round number 1. Round number 2, which will happen in December, that's going to be the Formula Ford cars, and that's going to be at Brands Hatch Indy, the shorter version of the circuit. And then round number 3 will be racing at the Ars ACL GTRs at Donington National. Now, they know the other cars, they know the other tracks, but they don't know what the combinations are until a little bit later on in the season. But they've been told about the first 3 tracks, and that was it. And then that's going to mean everything. So we're going to be racing at tracks such as Kyalami, Hungaroring. We got Hungaroring and VRR North as well. We got cars such as the Mazda MX-5. So if you are a big fan of iRacing, you're probably familiar with that. We got the Audi TT Cup. And we also got the GT3s as well that's making its appearance. So Yeah, it's going to be a fun season ahead of us, but from round 4 onwards, we don't know what the combinations are. Neither do the driver themselves. Giles, can you hear us? Doesn't look like he can hear us, unfortunately, but we'll pass it to Monty. Just a review on those combinations. Some quite interesting combinations, not gonna lie. In particular, the Formula 4s next week.
Yes, no, next month.
Well, next month.
Steady. I wish we could do it that frequently, but yeah, no, next month, that's looking like a really tasty one. That's the classic Formula Ford 1600s at Brands Hatch Indy. So anyone with a motorsport pedigree or heritage will definitely have remembered those combinations racing since the 70s. I do apologise, by the way, for what you're seeing on the screen at the moment. Poor Jess is being left with someone who's lost in his own world, with no internet, no speakers
He's in
working.
the cloud.
So we're all enjoying this, watching poor Giles trying to get his technology to work again. But I shouldn't laugh. It's going to come back to haunt me at some point. I tell you what, I'll save his modesty, Jess. Let's get myself on for a few minutes. There we are. But yeah, no, it's looking fantastic. And as I say, 53 teams taking part this year as well. It's mixed combinations, different tracks, different cars. What's going to work where we're finding here, we're using high downforce cars on a circuit which is of high altitude and anti-clockwise. Suddenly we're going to be going next time out to single-seaters, but without the wings. So there's no downforce to push it down. So coming back to what we were talking about, the engineering challenge before, they're going to have to really use their noggins on this one to understand the vehicle dynamics and work out how to best set up these cars, how best to strategize for these races, because we're seeing Portsmouth are making it work today, Glasgow struggling, but we also saw them struggle at the beginning of last season, and as the season went on and they started to understand things better and better, they were unstoppable. So it's not just about being the fastest on the track, because they have the open setups, they have freedom of everything like that, and that's why it's so important for these engineering challenges for them to earn arguably as many points for that as they would for a race win. As Giles said earlier, this is it's a unique selling point essentially of this series, because we're not just rewarding the person who can drive the best, but we're rewarding the team who can understand the best. Ultimately, Formula Students has always been about giving engineering students the chance to put that theory into practice, so they can apply these skills to their Formula Student team, so they can apply these skills once they get into the industry themselves. I think Giles and Jess, you were mentioning before about how you go for a job interview, and one of the first things they ask is, have you ever done Formula Student before? If you say no, what's that? Chances are that interview's not going to last very, very long. So no, it's all about giving them the opportunity to do that. So you may find that some teams, we won't see them that much on the screen, but if they keep on winning the engineering challenges, we could be seeing them at the top of the standings as well throughout the season. So it really is fascinating. And their work is being judged by professionals within the industry. So we've got some engineering judges from Alpine, Euro NCAP, Nissan, very kindly, and Williams eSports as well, of course, who are very kindly giving up their time to help us put on this extracurricular work for the students and to give them, as I say, a chance to put that theory into practice. Also gives me a chance to go and see a couple of F1 facilities as well, as you've already seen, but I'm just kind of geeking out like a big kid there, so it's all good. Now I'm being told the server is being launched now, so guys, I'm going to hand it back over to you so I can go and try and get us some live footage of race 2. Any idea who's in the top server for this one, Jess? What's quali looking like?
Well, qualifying, University of Southampton topped the timing sheet, so they will be in race 2 in server 1 with a 1:24.294 was their fastest time. In second place, University Queen Mary Formula Student. We haven't seen them in server 1 before, so we're going to see them here tonight, which is very great to see. And then we have got the number 40. Vigo is back again on their Joker. So will they have a better race this time around, and will they be able to take the win? Starting in third may be good for them. Bolton is back. They'll be starting fourth. And we also got Holey. They're back as well in fifth. We are seeing some usual protagonists here as well. Then we got the number 35 University of College Dublin. They are back. We've got the number 8, that is Cardiff Racing. We know who's racing in that one because Giles knows that driver. And
I do know him, indeed. I'm actually really chuffed to see him back, I can't lie. It's great to have Aaron Farmer behind the wheel. He was an absolutely spectacular driver last season, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to seeing what he can come up with this time around.
Yep, so he'll be starting in 7th. In number 8, we got the 43. That is Team Bath Racing Electric, so they'll be racing once again. Then we got 52, the University of Hong Kong. They're racing again as well. The number 5, that is, I believe, Trinity St. David. Haven't seen them in a while. Great to see them back on this server. University of Glasgow. Didn't have a good qualifying for race 2. They'll be starting in 11th. And then we got the number 50, that is LJMUE Racing. That is Liverpool John Moores University. Liverpool have both their universities taking part in this Formula Student Sim Racing Series. And then we've got, who's number 11?
Just to clarify that one, Jess, be careful when you say Liverpool have both of their universities. That's an battle going on there versus Liverpool versus John Moores. You know, that's almost like saying Liverpool and Everton are the same team. Say that at your own peril.
Yeah, but they're both in Liverpool, but they're different universities. There we go. We've got 11, which is Cambridge. They were in Server 2 last time. Now they're in Server 1 this time. I've remember them coming from the back of the grid once to finish really well in a race I commentated on in Spa, so that was great to see. Number 14, Team Aberdeen. We have a Scottish university joining us. That is great to see. The number 24, we've got UP Racing Electric, Portsmouth once again. Then we got the number 48, which is, it's taken me a while to scroll, so my bad. UP Racing Alternative didn't have the good of qualifying this time around, but can they make their way from 16th to win another race? Maximum points maybe for them. The 41 is also racing. That is Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Then we've got the number 27, University of Hertfordshire. Monty is probably going to be happy that they're in the top server.
I'll be even happy if they win this one.
Well, they're going to be starting. They're going to be starting quite to the back of the grid, Monty. P18.
That's fine. That's fine. Disclaimer, guys. Disclaimer, guys. You've had to listen to Giles last year go on about Cardiff. You're going to hear me go on about Hertfordshire this year. Now that I have an opportunity to cheer on about them. So, incidentally, hello to Samadhi if he is out there tonight. I know he's one of the guys running the Hertfordshire team this year. So,
Indeed.
I used to be teammates with him when we were both students for Hertfordshire, and he's gone on to go and teach the next generation. So I know he's watching tonight. So hello, Smaddings.
Yeah, and the final 2 teams, we got the whole B team, so both whole teams are in there as well. And then we got the number 15, that is Lassend Motorsport, and that is a university from Canada, or people from Canada, York University. So who won race 1 in Server 2? I believe. I might be wrong. Oh no, it's a different one. My bad. We're still getting used to it, guys. We're still getting used to it.
There's too many Yorks. So for context there, guys. So last year there was 2 Yorks, one from Canada, and then the actual York team. Okay. So the York team have added in a second team this year. So you have York A and York B. York A, York A, there we are. But
oh no,
Lassonde, or York as they call themselves from Canada, are in for another season. Now, Lassonde have been with us since the beginning. They are one of the old hats of the sim racing series, so it's great to see them taking part as well, because they are full of enthusiasm. They have a lot of knowledge there. And
a bit of support for them in the chat.
Oh yes, big support there for Lassonde. We love you, Canada. But no,
we are a global affair here at Formula Student. We're not just a UK competition. It's countries from Europe as well, Hong Kong, Canada, obviously, America, and we've had some from the Netherlands, University of the Basque Country, which is in Spain as well. Obviously, Scotland, Thailand as well. Northern Ireland, New Zealand as well. So good morning for those of you that are watching there. Poland, Bangladesh as well. Of course, they won't be all in the same server, but a truly global affair as well. We can't wait to see what they can do in their respective Formula students in real life, because they won't be necessarily taking part in our Formula student, but they may be taking part in Formula students around the world as well. So great to see them take part here as well. We are about to get started with the race. Same protocols, 25 minutes of action. Ideally, I think based on race 1, we're going to see 2 stops, I think, Giles.
I think we will do indeed. Southampton on pole. Queen Mary Formula student in second. In third, we've got Vigo. And in fourth, as you might be expecting, Bolton are there. The Hull A team are in fifth. University College Dublin, meanwhile, in sixth. In seventh, it is Cardiff University with the demon behind the wheel. That is Aaron Farmer. Bath are in eighth. Hong Kong University in ninth. University of Wales, Trinity St David in 10th. In 11th, I'm really surprised to see what's been going on here, is Glasgow Racing A team. In 12th, it is that Ilmenu? Or is that a new team that I haven't memorized?
That is John Moores. Liverpool John
Moores University in 12th. In 13th, it is Cambridge A team. Aberdeen are in 14th. In 15th, it is University of Portsmouth Racing Electric. The alternative fuel team from Portsmouth is in 16th. RBRT, that's another Hong Kong university. They're in 17th. Hertfordshire are in 18th. Hull B team are in 19th. And the Song are in 20th. We go racing again then at Interlagos in Brazil. You can see there has been a change in condition. It is looking overcast. The server is programmed to replicate a thunderstorm. And the question is, when is it going to come? There's lightning ahead then. And there's also 27 minutes of racing action ahead. 25 on-track minutes. We've got a few minutes before we go racing. A 2-stop strategy seems to be the optimum here for these cars and this setup. Southampton have put it on the front, and they're going to be very, very pleased with that. You're on board with there, and as you can see, just a clear road ahead for Southampton. Bolton in fourth. They had a great wheel-to-wheel battle in race 1. The question is, can they get ahead of Vigo and Queen Mary to get back and vie with Southampton for pole position? Only time will tell, and we haven't got a very long time until we go racing again at Interlagos. The thunder and lightning is on the way. It's very, very frightening. Someone press play on Bohemian Rhapsody, because this is going to be a full-on rock opera of a race, I'm sure. Let's find out who is going to clinch it in the second race of the first round of Formula Student Sim Racing 2023-2024. The grand final will be held at Williams eSports. That is what these drivers are vying for, a chance to go racing at Williams. Their HQ, we saw it earlier. Monty was there. It is a fantastic hub for eSports. And the finalists will be there. We've got 50 seconds until we go racing, until we go lights out. Your predictions quickly, please, Jess.
Well, I'm going to say, with their Joker, I'm predicting Vigo is going to be taking the victory tonight. So if they don't, it's my fault.
Well, there we are then. Jess's money is on Vigo. I've got a funny feeling Southampton might have something to say about it as we count down the seconds until we go racing. James, in a few words, your prediction, please.
Oh, I want to see Vigo win this one. It's got to be the newcomers.
High five.
Jess and Vigo cheering on, Jess and Monty cheering on Vigo as the lightning flashes. Not long until the lights go out themselves. Lights up then. 6 lights to go before we go racing at Interlagos for the second time this evening. Southampton on pole. Vigo in third. Lights out then. And away we go. What sort of start can Southampton have? And they are well away off the line, with Queen Mary doing relatively well as well. Southampton.
Queen Mary's gone away.
Queen Mary's gone. You're on board with Vigo. I thought that was Queen Mary. I thought it was Queen Mary, which is why, because they were in second. They're up, and that is going to be an absolute disaster for the Londoners as Vigo take the battle to Southampton, and Bolton are up into third on board with the Red Dragon from Hong Kong as they battle with University of Hull A team going very wide there, and Hull go through. Aberdeen are in fourth meanwhile. You're on board with them. Up ahead, Bolton, Vigo and Southampton on the podium. Behind them, you have got Liverpool, John Moore, on board with Glasgow Racing. They're down into ninth. UCD charging through. Contact there as Glasgow 18 struggle to hold on to the top 10 position, swamped by some of the field. Not the results we were expecting from last year's championship winners, as Hull 18 go through. Bath come past. Glasgow having an absolute disaster in round 1 of Formula Student UK 2023-2024. UCD doing very well. Liverpool John Moore tumbling down the running order. They've clearly gone off somewhere. You're on board with the 10th place car, University of Glasgow Racing 18, as they pile on down, trying to get close enough to get the slipstream off of Bath. They go wide, looking to the outside, trying to find a way through, looking potentially to the outside round here. Everyone locking up. These tyres are going to get cooked very quickly. It's like a Sunday roast on each axle as they go round this sweeping left-hander. Down through they go, and Glasgow are going to be looking in the mirror, trying to work out where they've gone wrong this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they were doing very well last season. Towards the end, they were the most consistent, but they seem to be tumbling down as well, and it just goes to show the high quality of these teams this season. The universities have stepped it up a notch in terms of pace as well, so it may be down to their setup not working with these RSS3 cars, which are beast of a cars. Bearing in mind, it can have really high horsepower, up to 400 horsepower, with a weight of 676 kilometres. We're seeing University of College Dublin having a much better race than last time, not getting involved in too many calamities thus far, but there has been a few people that dropped their way down the grid. Cambridge dropped all the way down into P20, and we got another spinner.
Very squiffy there. That looks to be University Portsmouth Racing Electric have gone sideways and taken a fair few out with them as a result. Meanwhile, I should add, it looked to me earlier like Queen Mary had rejoined the server. I thought I saw them back in. Potentially they're not, but there they are. They're down in 11th.
Oh, that's not too bad.
It could be a lot worse. They're battling with Cardiff University for 10th position as Queen Mary squeeze Cardiff out. Aaron Farmer might have something to say about that, I imagine. I'm not sure what the rules are regarding a server dropout. Monty, could you fill us in as to how that works in terms of the standings in a race?
Can you come back to me in 2 minutes? I'm just trying to read something on Discord at the moment, I'm afraid. Sorry, Giles.
I will check the rules for you, Giles.
Ongoing. Fantastic. University College Dublin up into 4th place. They have to be the best newcomers by far. You're on board then with the team that started very well in 2nd. Now we're back with UCD. I really am interested to see whether these guys can pull it back with a podium position. There's a gap of 4 seconds between them and the 3rd place car, Bolton. 20 minutes of racing to go. They can do this, but bear in mind, there's at least 1 pit stop, probably 2, that UCD have got to come in for before they can actually be battling it out with Bolton. Bolton, meanwhile, far more interested in getting past Vigo, who are under pressure then for 2nd position. Vigo driving defensively, locking up.
Vigo trying to challenge for Southampton for the race lead so far as Vigo covers off in the right in the Retro de Posta, heading towards the outside line.
Going round the outside are Southampton, trying to get back past Vigo, who are driving a storm of a race as Jess and James predicted.
Oh, Liverpool John Moore's had enough. As they drop down the order.
Oh, this is very tight indeed. Looking to the outside, looking to the inside. So this is a really nice invitation for Bolton to come and join the fray as Vigo and Southampton battle it out for 1st place. They're slowing each other down as a result, and Bolton are creeping on through and just waiting potentially for the two to come together and sneak through into the lead. Bolton, I imagine, will be thrilled with that. Southampton, rivals of Bolton, under pressure then from Vigo, who have made a really intense impression on the field in their first outing this season, as Vigo are half a second behind Southampton and half a second again between Vigo and Bolton as they head down towards the start-finish straight. You're on board with Bolton there. Vigo going through now, just trying to find a way through. The inside line would be preferable for that first corner, but they're just not close enough to make a move. Locking up there, not what they're going to want. They're going to want to really go long, I would suggest, and wait for Southampton to come in for the pit and then try and open that gap up and go for the overshoot. But I don't think the tyres are going to have it in them. Bolton, meanwhile, like a vulture, just circling. It's, the fight. It's a bull, it's a lion, and then the vulture above being Bolton, just waiting for the kill and to launch in themselves as Vigo chase down Southampton, who are driving very well and have opened it up by an extra 10th of a second and 0.6 seconds ahead now of Vigo are Southampton, who are just a little aggressive, locking up a fair bit here. You're on board with the race leaders. You can see in the rear view mirror that black and blue of Vigo. I imagine that's how they'd quite like to leave Southampton come the end of this race. They're going to be determined to gain victory. They got gifted a position as Queen Mary from London dropped off the server, and now they are in with a shout of a race win. It comes down to the next 17.5 minutes or so of action and some very well-timed pit stops. When would you be pitting, Jess? If you were behind the wheel right now, when would you be choosing to pit?
I think it was roughly about this point in the last race where we saw a lot of people pitting, and we just see a lock-up from Vigo in front, which just shows that the tyres are starting to degrade a little bit more. It's times 4 tyre progression, which means the tyres will degrade very quickly compared to what is normally at Interlagos. So we would expect them to come up now, and we've seen the undercut is powerful before, so if I were you, I would pit probably at the earliest opportunity and then pit. Oh, there's Glasgow that's made contact with another car. I couldn't see who that was. Queen Mary. So Queen Mary, who made their way up through the order, is that contact with Glasgow. It looks like Glasgow, Giles, has got a bit of damage there.
I think they do, and I think Glasgow have got to go away from this and rethink their strategy because things aren't working. And I want to know why, because the team was so strong last year. This drop-off from first on the grid down into the mid-pack just seems relatively off. Talking of dropping from the front to the mid, Cardiff down in 12th as well. We saw Cardiff lose a couple of positions earlier on a few minutes ago. They're battling it out with Hull A-team, and then ahead of them is Glasgow. So Hull, Cardiff and Glasgow, we've seen a lot of them last season. This was towards the front of the grid. This wasn't around the mid-pack. So these teams that we've seen previously potentially struggling to accommodate. And there it is. There it is. Bolton are in. No, it's Southampton. Southampton go in.
That was Southampton, not Bolton. Bolton is in second place, Giles.
Bolton have gone into second as a result of this pit stop from Southampton. And Vigo are going long and staying out an extra lap then. Southampton are going to come out on fresh rubber. And now it all comes down to this from Vigo. When are they going to pit next?
I think right now, to be honest. And he's got traffic. The Southampton has got traffic, so it's not ideal for him because ideally he wanted a bit of clear air, but through the Interlagos, a bit of lock-up from them. So that is good news if you're Vigo and Bolton right now. And also Trinity St. David, who's having a good showing as well. Most of the other guys have not pitted so far. The other drivers that have pitted, we've got the University of College Dublin that has came into the box. We've got one of the Hong Kong universities that's come in too. And we also got the number 15 that's came in as well, as someone has just had a bit of an off there. But Vigo still leads. I think they've got to think about the timings of when they come in terms of traffic. And they come in.
They're in. They're in. Now this is going to get very spicy now. Vigo will come out behind another. Bolton in as well. So your race position 1 and position 2 have both come into the pits. So the question is, who's going to get a better start and where are they going to come out relative to Southampton? Oh, stay with this because this is properly exciting. Also in the pits back there, who's that? Is that Aberdeen?
That is Aberdeen, yes.
Southampton are coming through. This is going to get really close indeed as Southampton have gone past Bolton. Can they go past Vigo? Vigo go out ahead. Vigo ahead. Vigo in pole position and Southampton get up into second. They stop the advance of Bolton, but they don't quite manage to catch up to Vigo, and their tyres are 1 lap behind Vigo's fresh rubber. Vigo coming out into clean air, and that traffic will have cost Southampton the lead. Absolutely stunning.
Wow. I think this is important with Formula Shooting Race 1. If your race has been ruined in some way or you didn't get the result you needed, it's a chance for your second race to really make amends. And probably the second driver was looking at the first race and think, right, what can I do that's possibly better than the first race? And bearing in mind, the mass on Vigo's car is 5% lower than everybody else's because they're on the Joker. Whereas everyone else is being forced to have 5% mass on their cars. It goes the original way if you're on the Joker. So this is good news if you're Vigo right now, because you're pulling off a really good gap. And that is really bad news if you're any other team right now. Southampton is in second. And we got Holby in 14th, chasing down Monty's favourite team, Herefordshire, for P13 on the road.
Talking of Hertfordshire, Monty, what have you got for us?
Hello, guys. Sorry for not being able to. Sorry for not being able to help out. Oh, am I really going to witness certain overtake as we talk? Fantastic. Sorry for not being able to speak before. I was trying to find out what had happened to Queen Mary. It seems a bit inconclusive, but it does seem to be client side. Long story short, they got spawned back into the pits just as the lights came on, so they had to start from the pit lane. So this is essentially a last two, well, wherever they end up finishing now, dash from them. So an amazing recovery drive to see them already up to 7th position so far. Let's see what more work they can do from there, really. Also, Jess, not to be horrible or anything, this is my engineering brain coming on. The cars aren't 5% lighter.
It's back to their original way.
All the other cars are 5% heavier than Vigo tonight. But that's me just being a mathematic facetious a-hole.
No, it's absolutely fine. It is the first race.
Exactly. However, no, good racing. They've all managed to go a lap longer than they did in race 1. So, I don't know if that's going to be enough to eke it out to a single pit stop this time. But we will wait and see. We will wait and see.
Very last-minute pit stops. We'll have a couple of... Because bear in mind, there was 3 minutes of racing left after the second pit stops were taken by the majority of the field. If they wait much longer... Oh, look at this. Down the inside on the first corner. Can they make it 2 positions in 1? Not quite. But Queen Mary are up and battling it out with Aberdeen. They're past Aberdeen. Aberdeen and the Red Dragon of Hong Kong stuck behind them as Queen Mary are charging back towards the front of the grid, trying to take back the positions they lost due to that server malfunction. Ahead of them are Bath, about a second ahead. Away go the Red Dragon. That was Aberdeen and the Red Dragon having a coming together.
That was why they dropped the order then.
Absolutely gutting for those two.
I believe everyone has also done their first stops then. So they'll be trying to eke it out until their next pit stops, which will be happening in probably about 5 minutes' time, I would say.
I don't know whether it's going to be 5 minutes or they could really push it to 7 or 8 minutes.
It could be. You never know. That's the thing about strategy, isn't it?
Well, this was the thing. They pushed it a lap later this time around for the first pit stops. If they push it later for the second pit stops, they're going to be knocking on the door of a pit stop and their last lap. So I'll be interested to see what they go with, because you're either going to chance it and potentially lose position, then make it up on the fresh rubber, but not have a lot of time to.
Oh, there's a huge pile up. Sorry to cut you off.
And run those overtaken.
Cardiff is one of them.
Understandably.
It was Aberdeen, Holby, Cardiff, and I couldn't catch what the other car was. Glasgow as well, our champion from last season. They're having a mare tonight, Giles.
What is going on with Glasgow? I think it's one of the big draws from this. It's like Mercedes, like in 2022, all over again. Cardiff coming into the pits then, as are, I believe,
Aberdeen.
Behind them. Is that... Who is that? That's Aberdeen. Are they coming in for a pit stop?
I think it's damage.
Damage
I think it's damage.
Crash. But that's going to take them well down the grid and out of any point of contention. The pair of them absolutely gutting for the Welsh and Scottish teams.
And you can see on the live timings as well, with the links are in the chat, you can see when they crash as well. So it just gives us a little bit of an idea as well. And Cardiff not having a good time either, neither is Glasgow. So they need to find their ways to make it up through the field. But one team that's making their way through the field after starting in the pit lane, Queen Mary trying to fight Bath for 5th place. They are having an absolute stormer right now, and they're going to be looking to take advantage of everyone else's misfortunes. They go down the inside.
That
is beautiful.
Clean cut. Look at that. That is like a steak knife through butter. That is brilliant racing.
Oh, they're
Queen Mary
again.
Formula student. Bath not having any of it, trying to find a way around, weaving and squirreling away as they try to go around the outside. Bath definitely no quitter. Look at this from Bath as they try and claw back that position, that 5th position from Queen Mary. You're on board with Bath now. This is their debut in the Formula Student Sim Racing Series, and boy have they made an impact, as have Queen Mary. Starting from second, and Bath have lost it.
They almost hit Queen Mary.
They have properly binned that. Oh dear, you can't park there, mate. That was so good until it wasn't from Bath. They have gone well down the running order. Hull 18 and the Red Dragon of Hong Kong go through. Hertfordshire not managing to get through behind them. Much to Monty's disappointment, I'm sure. But there we are then. Bath just trying a little bit too hard. Maybe they would have preferred 6th to 8th. They certainly did want 5th, but Queen Mary had other ideas.
It's all right. I'm not too disappointed, Giles, because I've realised that's actually Cardiff a lap behind that's behind them.
Oh, bugger.
Monty versus Giles is going to be, I think, a rivalry throughout the whole season, so make sure you stay tuned in for that. Server 2, we will keep an eye on what's going on in Server 2 right now. We've got a few pitters. College, no, that's not College Dublin. That's Hull A. They got similar liveries. So we've got College, Hull A and RBRT in the pits. Red Dragon that's come in.
Red Dragon of Hong Kong.
Yes.
In the pits. Vigo, 1.1 seconds ahead of Southampton.
That is correct.
Bolton trailing behind Southampton by 3 seconds. The front of the field has really opened up now.
It has. And speaking of front of the field in Server 2, as we got the Red Dragons trying to make their way through the field and almost getting an overtake on the outside into Turn 4. We got Salford, who's currently leading Server 2 with FSTN in P2, and we got number 9 in P3 of Lopez. So that is your order for Server 2. Obviously, we're not streaming that, we're streaming Server 1, but that is the running order for that. And there's a few teams in there that are racing Server 1 in the race 1 that are not in this race for this one. Again. Here they come in.
They've got a second advantage over Southampton. Bolton are up into first place as Southampton come in as well then. Very interesting that the pair of them decided to come in at the same point. Bolton going long there with their strategy, hoping that they get an advantage by going fast as they can, pegging it round in this lap and in on this lap they're on currently as Southampton Vigo through. University Welsh Trinity St David out of somewhere coming in at second. How has that happened, Monty?
They're yet to pit, Giles, so don't worry, normal service will resume in a moment. However, I wanted to share with you guys, I'm probably going to spoil a bit of Bolton's tricks here, but in the non-championship race that we did a couple of weeks ago, Bolton decided to gamble by not changing their tyres in their final stop, which saved them 2 seconds, and suddenly they were in first. Do you think they're going to try a similar tactic here and see if knackered tyres and light fuel is the way to go for the sake of 2 minutes left in a race?
Because if they do that, then that's going to set a precedent for the rest of the season, certainly. If you're watching this back, by the way, from the future, hello, how is the future? It's like watching Top Gear on Dave. Bolton, then, could be about to become trendsetters or not. I spoke far too soon. Bolton in, then, as I initially thought they might be, not going long, as we did wonder.
Maybe because of the tyres.
Have they made up enough of a gap? They've got 11 seconds and it's usually a 20-second pit stop, so they will likely come out, if 20 seconds is right, they'll come out in 5th.
That was a quick stop, Giles.
That was a quick stop.
That was a very quick stop indeed. Vigo and Bolton go through, though, and Southampton are in second as it stands. Bolton in third, and Vigo have got back into first. University of Wales, Trinity St David overtaking Queen Mary. Bolton now on fresh rubber. Can they claw back that lead position? They've got 1.5 seconds between them and Vigo. 2 seconds. So I stand corrected. Sorry, my maths is appalling. 1.2 seconds between Southampton and Vigo. 3 seconds between Bolton and Vigo. This doesn't look recoverable within the time they've got left, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. I think there's certain teams that are going to struggle for the last few laps. I believe there are some, I think most teams have done their second pit stop then. So again, a sprint to the end. Again, it was around about the 5-minute mark, as we were predicting. Has gone inside run. A bit of a lock-up once again. They are struggling with tyres at the moment as it's getting quite dark at the moment in Interlagos. So could we see some rain that could cause havoc to the end of the race?
Some last-minute rain would be absolutely fantastic. I say that as a spectator. I imagine the drivers would say otherwise. But you're on board with Hong Kong University as they hunt down the Scots of Aberdeen. Plenty of love for Aberdeen in the chat. They're currently in 14th and could lose that to Hong Kong University. But I don't think they're too worried about that. They look far more interested in changing the position between themselves and University of Glasgow Racing. That gap seems to be getting closer and closer. Talking of close gaps, look at that! Nearly in the rear end of Aberdeen were Hong Kong University, who've got a fantastic view then of this 4-way battle for 9th with Hertfordshire in 9th. In 10th, it's Hull B team. UCD, I'm a bit ahead of myself. There we are. You're on board with Liverpool John Moore. They're in 10th. Behind them is Glasgow. Then it's Aberdeen, and then Hong Kong. They're all bunched up together. So this is the
not
battle
anymore!
then for 12th. And
So the two Scottish teams have come together and made contact. My.
Oh my days. This has been a turnout for the books, and I imagine this feels like a nightmare they'd rather wake up from for the Glaswegians, who have struggled to get traction as they head back onto the tarmac, taken out by Aberdeen. It was a very close battle between 4 teams for 12th, and that is just completely opened up now as Liverpool John Moore University hold on to that 12th spot. Hong Kong University making up a couple of places as a result of that drama. Lassonde sneaking on through as well. Hello if you're watching from Canada. Aberdeen then have managed to stay ahead of Glasgow, but at the cost of both of them. Hull B team, meanwhile, rounding out your top 10. They're in 10th here. The brakes locking up, and those tyres look to me to be a little bit smoky. They've got a minute to go. I reckon they can hold on, but maybe UCD might want to put their foot down. With 6 seconds of a gap, though, I don't reckon UCD have got much of a reply, even if Hull's tyres are going away. Vigo, a second and a half ahead. There is the Red Dragon of Hong Kong. Ahead of them are Bath. Could we see a last-minute lunge here?
I think they're going to wait for the last opportunity, but it may be too late because this could potentially be the last lap of this race. And to be honest, the Red Dragons have made a good recovery to get where they are. Oh, and I almost spoke to you saying, hold on, after they saved the car there. That was brilliant car control.
Well held there from the team from Hong Kong.
The Red Dragons.
How on earth they managed to hold that, I do not know.
By absolute magic, I have to say. But we've got Vigo, who has driven absolutely amazing this race. Are they going to do a final lap, or is this their final lap? We don't know, but we are watching.
5 seconds on the clock. This could.
So it's the last lap then, and we could see Red Dragons fight for P7 against Bath football teams as well. Bath, good recovery as well. Yeah, that's what I mean. Vigo's on their last lap, which means everyone's going to start their last lap now.
Yes, they are. Here we go then. The battle for P7 seems to be one of the hottest as Hong Kong University lose the positions they'd made up as a result of the drama earlier on. Lausanne and Aberdeen taking full advantage of that, and Hong Kong University back to where they started as they go past Lausanne now, going round the outside. Very brave line, keeping it right to the ragged edge of the limit that they can do on this track. Hong Kong up into 14th, I should say. Queen Mary, meanwhile, an absolutely astounding drive from them as they hunt down with this last lap. University of Trinity St David, who have just snuck in quite out of nowhere as far as I can make out. A very interesting strategy, seems to have worked very well for the Welsh team there. Queen Mary will attempt to get through, but I don't reckon they've got it in them. Meanwhile, we look to the Spanish side. We look to Vigo as they come round the last corner. A dominant drive from the Spaniards as they cross the line and take a well-earned victory in race 2 of round 1. Southampton come across the line in 2nd, and Bolton round it out in 3rd. University of Welsh Trinity St David
out to the line, side by side with
the line, then side by side they go with Queen Mary. Queen Mary might just have this. It's a photo finish. I don't know who had it. Trinity St David.
Oh my God.
Trinity St David by 0.02 of a second take the 4th spot as Queen Mary come in 5th. A fantastic recovery drive from there. Hull A in 6th. Red Dragon in 8th. In 9th, it's Hertfordshire. Wow.
That was amazing. I almost got confused between Bath and Trinity St David there, but good recovery from both Trinity St David and Queen Mary as well. I have to say, one of my teams of the race, Queen Mary for sure, after starting from last to finish 5th.
I still want to know how the hell UWTSD got up into 4th. Where were they? They were nowhere, and then suddenly they were just there.
Strategy. It's probably got out of strategy, and a lot of cars just having carnage behind them, and they were able to scrape through.
And this is exactly why we do this, because strategy is part and parcel of all of engineering, whether it's trying to work out how long a part can go for, or trying to play the numbers when it comes to finances. I'm just going to get up from my microphone and try and get the automatic lights to come back in, because as you may be able to see, it's a bit dark in here.
Yeah, it is quite dark where I am as well, but we'll go through the results for Server 2 later on, but we can confirm that Munster Technological University, that had an awful race 1 in our Server 1, they went on to win race 2 in Server 2, so good recovery for them, and they still got some decent points.
That is a really remarkable race that I am absolutely stunned by. And I've got a funny feeling Monty and the stewards are going to have rather a heavy evening talking with the drivers in the debrief. The stewards might be rather busy this evening. If the chat on YouTube is anything to go by, I tend to keep clear of that, and I imagine you'll be doing the same, Jess. But your driver of the day then, would that be University would that be Welsh Trinity St David, or would that be Queen Mary for you? It'd be Queen Mary for you. Brilliant. For me, I'm absolutely stunned by the absolute genius that must have been the Wales Trinity St David strategy to get up into 4th to the point that I was surprised to see them there. That's absolutely stunning, but also stunning and rightfully earned. And it felt like it was just a question of time. Had to be Vigo. We knew it was coming. It was just a question of whether it would be this event or whether it be next event. Given their performance in race 1 of this round, they came out a little advantage given to them by the server failure of Queen Mary, and then a brilliant bit of driving and a bit of strategy got them through past Southampton to take that win. We'll catch up with the driver very shortly to work out how they planned around that, whether that was a spontaneous bit of manoeuvring or whether that was already planned. Jess, going forward then, who are your teams to watch?
Well, I have to say Vigo, consistent in race 1, consistent in race 2. They just missed out on the win in race 1. They got their joker out of the way. I can't wait to see what they can do in the next round in the Formula Fords as well, which is going to be at Brands Hatch in India, track that I absolutely like as well. And we also got Bolton. Of course, we've got to watch out for Bolton. Bolton were looking quick. Southampton, if they can get their car into both Server 1s in both races, and they're going to be teams to watch as well. But They are looking at the results in the background, but if my calculations are correct, a P3 in race 1 and a P1 in race 2 in server 1, I think Vigo have got the lead in the championship, but we will have to wait just a little bit longer to find out if that's the case.
Monty will be able to confirm that for us later on, so do stay tuned as we bring you the full results, at least the preliminary results pending stewards' inquiries. There tend to be a fair few of them in this series. It's student simulation racing after all. What else do you expect? What I didn't expect to see was University College Dublin doing so well, but not quite getting to the front of the grid. I just don't think they had the best of luck in either race this round, but I'd be really interested to see where they are next round, whether they can create a similar performance next month. I just think there's something going on there that's worth watching, you know?
That reminds me of Glasgow, who were in a similar position last season, and we had like to Bolton and Southampton near the top, and then they were able to claw it back at the end. Don't be surprised if we will see University College Dublin win races this season. I think this could be the start of things to come for that team. And watch out for the other new teams as well. The Hong Kong universities especially have been showing up to really good use. Even though there were a few instances from them, there was some great moves made by those teams as well. But yeah, I can't wait to see how UCD do for round number 2 and round number 3.
As not to mention, of course, we have to talk about it. Salford and Bolton, yet again, just battling it out. So Southampton coming in as well, and it's just the Bolton seem to really have a great way of just managing not to quite get there. It's only a matter of time before a win comes in for them. But I just have to wonder how long they're going to have to wait, given how much of a challenge they've got with themselves, Southampton, with Salford. It's going to be an interesting season, Jess.
It is. I think it kind of reminds me of Lando Norris, who keeps getting P2s and P3s in real life, and we always question him, like, when are you going to get your first win? When are you going to get your first win? It's kind of like the same with those certain teams as well, who's had that experience. And the ones who didn't do as well tonight, maybe the ones who are having their first race, hopefully this is a lesson for them of what they could expect for the rest of the season in Formula Student, and maybe they can learn it in the debrief, find ways to improve the car, because of course they still got the engineering challenge to do. These races will help them with the engineering challenge to kind of improve the car, know what went right, know what went wrong, and maybe they haven't done as well in the races, but if they do well in the engine challenge, still some decent points could go their way and change up the championship entirely. And as was described earlier, a maximum of 50 points could be won on total for the engineering challenge. So Giles, they'll work around Interlagos. It's not over yet.
It really isn't over yet. We'll be back in December for round 2 from Brands Hatch. Very much looking forward to that. But your race winner comes all the way from Spain. An absolutely remarkable drive there. And it's very nice to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on a hard-earned victory. That must feel so good.
Yeah, I am sweating all around. I mean, I'm still shaking a bit. Sorry for the wait, I just had to move the setup a little bit, but yeah.
No worries.
Still shaking.
And talk us through the strategy. You were qualified in third. You were lucky, I would say lucky. I think, would you agree, lucky, that Queen Mary had their server problem? But how did the strategy come about that got you ahead of Southampton?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to have a very good quality time, because I was very competitive with my teammate. I don't know, I wasn't sure, but yeah, seeing that second driver, I don't know his name, disappear, was like, all right, okay. And yeah, for the start of the coming to pits, we learned from our mistake on the race 1. We're coming through all that traffic, so we come a little late. And yeah, I think it turned out well.
I think that timing, working out when you'd be coming out into open air and free road, really did prove advantageous, because your closest competitors, when they left the pit, there were 3 or 4 cars out in front of them. So that was a genius bit of strategy. And going forward, have you considered Have you worked out a game plan that is going to be your traditional setup, or is it going to change based on the track and based on the car? Are we going to see a relatively similar coming in, coming out times, or are you going to be playing it by ear?
I'm sure it will be more dynamic, more than anything else. We didn't train a lot, and was like, okay, we just need to figure out what is best and go from it.
Brilliant stuff. And I always like to talk to the drivers when I get to interview them if they're from teams that make appearances at FS UK. Will he be returning to FS UK at Silverstone next year?
I am not sure. We were last year, but I'm really not sure.
We'd love to see you back, certainly. How's the car looking at the moment?
Yeah, we have the new members are still coming. We are still prepping up all the start of the season. But yeah, the people are working already on the next car, and it's looking to be very nice. But yeah, I'm not lucky enough to see the ongoing design. But yeah, for what I've seen, it's really okay.
And the engineering challenges, how have you been finding them thus far? Have you managed to get some headway with the first one?
Honestly, I don't know. We just joined last week, and we trained, and that's it. We had a look of over all the rules, and that's it. We joined. We didn't have time to look everything.
Miguel,
that's ridiculous. To go from...
Don't worry, I can answer that one as well for you, Miguel, because don't worry, we haven't actually released the first engineering challenge. You're about to receive that in the post-drivers briefing in about 20 minutes' time, so spoiler alert there.
There we are. You heard it here first. The first engineering challenge coming in 20 minutes. Miguel, an absolutely outstanding drive to have gone from entering a week ago. That must have been some intense practice to get to a winning position.
Yeah, I mean, I also didn't have time to train very well. I also only trained on Fridays, like yesterday and the Friday before and weekend.
That's insane.
And yeah, we were just managing with my teammate, and my teammate was like, okay, I did a really good setup, try it out, and he's like, okay, it is good, and we made some laps. and yeah,
hats off to you. Hats off to you, Miguel. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Congratulations on victory. I doubt this is the last we've seen of you this season, so thank you ever so much for being here.
Looking to the next one. Thank you so much for the organization and such. It must be difficult. Thank you.
It's not us, trust me. Well, I wouldn't have a clue where to go. It's all down to me. There we have it, your race winner for race 2 of round 1. That is Miguel from Vigo. And as I've said before, I doubt that's the last we've seen of him and the team this season in the Sim Racing Series. Even if the Spanish team don't get to Silverstone, they choose not to come to FS UK, it would be wonderful to have them with us at Williams eSports come the summer for the final. I've got a funny feeling they might end up being championship protagonists, Jess.
I think they will. I think with the preparation that they've done with only a week, that just sends alarm bells going, I think, for all the other teams that may have prepped for months for this FS UK Sim Racing Series. So watch out if you're competing. Vigo are in it to win it, I would say. And they still got a lot of drivers that will still be competing in a few rounds to come as well. But they've been looking quick from the get-go, even with only a week's practice. I can't wait to see how they do in the engineering challenge as well. I wonder if their setup skills have probably helped them in that as well. They're going to have a huge advantage going into that as well. So excited to see how they're going to do with that. Can they get 50 points in that one as well? Or will we see other teams that maybe missed out on some of the races in any of the servers do well there? And speaking of servers, Monty, do you have the results from race 2 on both servers?
I do indeed. We're just doing the final totting up there, so as we just give them the last 30 seconds, shall we just have a quick look at my screen to see how the second server did for that second race? And then we'll announce who the main winner is. So, right, moving on to my screen then. So these are the live timings, essentially. So, yes, a big congratulations to Vigo there. What a debut for them. Southampton taking up second place with Bolton there in third, UWTSD there in fourth, and Queen Mary's epic recovery drive from the pits to fifth position. In the bottom or middle tier server, I should say, Salford. We saw them fighting for a top 3 finish in the first race in the top server. They could only qualify in the middle server for the second race, but they did manage to take the win. And by 3 seconds as well, looking at that, from Napier, Edinburgh Napier in second, Strathclyde in third. So very much a big Scottish takeover in both servers tonight, that's for sure. Then we had Munster in fourth, and Heriot Watt, of course, another Scottish university, there in fifth, and Victoria rounding out the top 6th. We then had UCL, Yorkie, Exeter in ninth, and Poly U rounding out your top 10 for the middle server. For the second race. I've been told the points have been finalised now, so if we move that over, provisionally, our overall winner for round 1 is the University of Vigo with a double podium sweep. There they are, our overall winners. What a debut they have had, guys. Second position, University of Bolton, carrying on where they left off from last season. University of Hull as well, having a strong showing there in third.
A or B?
A, that is. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah. Yes, that's Hull A. Salford, I have to say, given that they were in the middle server for the second race, to still get 4th overall is a mighty impressive achievement from them.
Wow.
Southampton, yes, great job on them getting second place in the second race there, but obviously all the calamities in the first race and taking out everyone in the pit stop has really harmed their overall results for the whole evening. But having said that, Portsmouth Alternative Fuel as well. They won the first race, but because they only qualified in the middle tier server for the second race, that also hurt their point score for the evening as well. University of Hull B, they're in 7th position. Bath, welcome to the series there, guys, with an 8th position. Trinity St. David's, same going on there. Good result in the second race, but because they were in the middle server in the first race, that's hampered their point scores as well. But to be fair, apart from the top 3, it's really close further down, because look at that, from Bath in 8th to Edinburgh Napier in 17th. That's 20 points between them all there, really. So very, very close first round of the season, wouldn't you say, guys?
An absolutely great way to kick off the season. Close as anything, with plenty of teams vying for our attention and plenty of eyes everywhere. You've got to keep up with this. You've got to join us next time round. Jess, what do you think is going to happen next time? We're going to be at Brands Hatch. Have you got any predictions?
Well, I'm going to expect lots more moves, lots more excitement. And maybe could we possibly see Bolton try and challenge Vigo? Maybe some teams that maybe haven't got off to the best of starts, maybe climb their way back up there as well. I have to say, very impressed with Salford. The fact that they finished in a decent finish in Server 2 and Race 2, because they had a good result in Race 1 in Server 1. That's what gave them that result. So I'm expecting them as well. And watch out for University of College Dublin as well. But Vigo are coming into next race in a month's time as our championship leaders, provisional championship leaders, because there's going to be stewards reports looking into protests as well. So these results, remember, are all provisional.
They will be announced over on the Formula Student Discord if you want to really keep up to date on it. Naturally, next month we'll be bringing you those results. We'll confirm what they were when we join you again in December. Throwing it over onto the chat, plenty of love for Vigo, especially from Lois Snow. Lois Snow is over the moon for Vigo, saying that they're the GOAT and whatever Viro means. My Spanish is appalling, so if I've just said something horrendous, then I apologise. I don't know Spanish. Elsewhere, No Media said Queen Mary Formula Student cleanest on track. They did a startling recovery drive, did Queen Mary. And Chief Bentel Hutton has said, well done, Unia Vigo. and fantastic commentators. Well, he's been very kind there. Also, Sam Gibbons has just been going nuts in the stream with my name. So thank you very much, Gibbo, for that one. But myself and Jess will be back in December for round 2. We'll be coming to you from a virtual Brands Hatch. We do hope you can join us for that. But for now, we have been Giles and Jess. This has been the Formula Student Sim Racing Series 2023-2024. It's been round 1 from Interlagos, and your winners, Vigo.